Hello and welcome. It's The Chat. I am Manny. My guest is a friend and colleague. In fact, she is one of the most recognizable faces on television. And for many years, she was news presenting. Eventually, she disappeared from television. And I found her.
Eugenia Abu is a veteran Nigerian broadcast journalist, former news anchor, writer, columnist, media trainer, and consultant. She is currently the CEO and managing partner of Eugenia Abu Media. Born in 1962 and raised in Zaria, Kaduna State, Eugenia attended the Ahmadu Bello University Staff School for her primary education and Queen Amina College for her secondary education. She is an alumnus of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where she obtained her first degree in English language in 1981. Her quest for knowledge led her to the University of London and Keele University, Staffordshire, where she obtained her master's degree in Communication Policy Studies and Creative Writing. She also holds certificates from various professional development courses. Eugenia's journey into the broadcast industry began at Radio Benue, Makurdi, but service to the nation led her to Ogun State Radio, where she served as a corps member, and then proceeded to the Benue Ministry of Information, where she worked for a year until she was offered a job by the Nigerian Television Authority, Makurdi. She filled various leadership positions while working with the NTA and rose to the rank of Executive Director of Programs, a position she held until her retirement in 2017. Aside from a notable broadcast career, Eugenia is also an award-winning writer with various newspaper columns, with poetries, short stories, and published books to her name. Her love for writing spurred her decision to establish a creative writing bootcamp for children called The Treasured Writers. She is the author of 2 published books, Don't Look at Me Like That and In the Blink of an Eye. For her impactful career, she has been acknowledged and honored with various awards, most notably the Nigerian Media Merit Award for Best Newscaster of the Year in 1995, the Vlisco Ambassadorial Award as Nigeria's Most Inspiring Woman in 2013, and the Flora Wakpa Prize for Best Women's Writing in 2008. Eugenia is married to the very conservative Thompson Abu, an excellent theatric critic, and their union is blessed with children.
It's a pleasure having you on the program.
Thank you so very much indeed.
I think I haven't seen you in a long while, and I was wondering where you were. And there you are now, looking so radiant.
Thank you.
Is that the job of a husband?
I think 1, it's DNA. I think 2 is peace.
I know a friend told me the first time he saw you on television, it was about your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Is that yes or no?
Well, I've heard people say that, but I paid no heed.
No, but I mean, of course, well, plus a very good voice. That's a combination you need on television.
I think the voice and the craft is a little more important, perhaps, than the eyes.
Do you look forward to being, called back into public service or civil service?
I'm a person who believes in faith. I have a very strong faith, and I believe in faith as well. If you've done your duty, I retired very young. I was 55 when I retired. Most people retire at 60. So I believe that I still have some to give. It depends on what the position is.
At the NTA, you had a little bit of back and forth, You were a news presenter for many years,
I was indeed.
And then suddenly you returned to become director of programs.
Executive director of programs,
yes.
I'd been in news all my life, to be honest. I joined as a news editor and stayed there. Basically, my writing was my strength. I joined as somebody who wrote the news. And then one day, I think a newscaster failed to turn up in Makurdi. And I was told that I should come and read the news. And I said, well, I didn't join this establishment to read the news. And I was told by my superiors that that was an assignment. and it wasn't about my choice, and they felt that I could speak English well enough to read it. Had done broadcasting only at OGBC Abeokuta on the radio. Yes, my career, I was a copper at OGBC Abeokuta. And
I was there as well.
yes, I know.
Radio.
Yourself, John Momo was there. So I know, yes, Fumi Odubekun. So I know quite a number of people who did radio there.
A lot of television, especially news presenters,
Yes.
they always fall short of names, of pronunciation of names of people, places, and the rest of it.
Yes.
How did you cope when you started?
Well, one of the things I am gifted with is languages. I speak 7.
You do?
Yes. Yoruba is one of them.
Namely?
I speak Yoruba. I speak Igala, which is mine. I speak Igbira, which is my mom's. I speak Tiv. I grew up in Benue for nearly 10 years. So I speak Tiv. I went to French school, so I took some French. I speak a bit of Swahili.
Who is this person in front of me? Now listen.
And then I speak English. So languages is a gift. And I also know that in broadcasting, you really do practice to speak the language. So Yoruba wasn't a challenge. I already spoke it when I was in Abeokuta.
Interesting.
And then I speak Hausa, of course.
Oh, that's...
So I speak 7 languages, English making it 8.
Can I ask you, did you resign or retire from NTA?
At which point?
At the point you became
Executive director.
executive director.
No, myself, Shola Atere, and the rest, Shola Atere, Damisa, all of us were staff of NTA at different levels of different directorate levels when we were made executive director. And I thought it was a good thing because usually people from the outside are invited and then people who are in the system pining away are simply ignored. So it was absolutely a brilliant decision at the time to get technocrats from the inside to become executive director. So I benefited from that.
Now that you're out of that place, what are you doing these days?
I enjoy training. I believe that mentoring is one of the most underrated areas in Africa. And I think when you impact on another person and you impart your knowledge, you're a better person. I've seen young people between the ages of 7 and 14. I train in a boot camp we do every summer for 1 week. We get children doing the creative things of life that schools don't give them. Drama, cooking, music. We do all of that in the summer school, but it's only once a year. Parents have said, can you do it a little longer? Can you do an Easter version? I haven't done it for 13 years. I'm thinking that I might consider those. But I do that, and we bring in actors, actresses, stars to come and help.
Do you see yourself coming back to television anyway, in any form?
In another year or 2, I might do some programs.
You will? Well, that's good.
I'm thinking about it.
We should be looking forward to seeing you again.
I'm thinking about it.
What about the Velasco? Is that the Velasco? Or I can't get Velasco.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a Dutch manufacturer fabric. Velasco Hollandis.
Velasco Hollandis.
Yes.
Well,
and these are things that our mothers tied many years. Yeah. They use them for Sunday meetings, and in the north it's quite prevalent. And in the southeast is a fabric that we've used for many years as Nigerians. But it's Dutch made. It's made in the Netherlands. It's something that we popularized in West Africa. Our motifs are on it, You
got an award.
Yes, I was Vlisco's 2013 ambassador as Nigeria's most inspiring.
And that enabled you to go to Sweden, was it?
I went to the Netherlands to see how fabrics are made. And
what were you looking to know?
I'm a fabric aficionado. I like motifs. I like fabrics from across the world. I'm very much involved in understanding how fabrics are made and what they mean.
I've never seen you dress in that anywhere.
In Vlisco?
Yes.
Oh, I wear it quite often.
You do?
On TV, that was mostly what I wore.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, I see a lot of you in this Booboos.
Yes, I wear a lot of Booboos these days.
Why?
I'm not a big person. And so as you begin to enter leadership roles and you wear fabrics or clothes that my mother describes as chichichi, they make you look smaller. These things give you some grandeur. This is Malian.
Oh, yeah.
But also Abeokuta. The Adire.
Is it? Okay,
this is Adire.
Okay.
This is Malian Adire. And I wear a lot of the Abeokuta ones. But these Booboos make me look bigger. Booboos are originally Senegalese, originally Ivorian, adopted by Nigeria. I love them because they give you freedom of movement.
Come to think of it,
Yes.
you have how many children?
In Africa, do we number our
Well,
children?
well,
I have
just
quite a number. Is that a good number?
Is that 4, 5, 3, 4?
I have a set of twins,
Yeah.
which expanded the horizon of my children. But I have 6 biological children.
Wonderful.
And then I have perhaps 20, 30 adopted across the world. I love children.
What does your husband think about children as well?
Oh, he's an absolutely brilliant father.
Where did he find you, or where did you find him?
Found me at the radio.
Which radio?
Radio Benue.
Oh, that's where he found you.
Yes, he was working at Radio Benue as head of current affairs.
And what did he say to you?
What did my husband say to me? It was interesting. He said, "Oh, I was an intern."
The first time, yeah?
Yes, I was an intern. I was waiting to go to the university, and he said, I had finished university, I think, and I was doing my last bit before I went to do youth service. And he said, he asked somebody, within hearing short, he asked somebody, who is this young girl who has joined us? They said, oh, she's an intern. He asked Copper, they said, no, intern. So when he finally got to chat with me, he said, I'm going to marry you. I said, is that how you talk to people? By telling them I'm going to marry you. I said, I don't understand this kind of character. You just look at somebody and you say you're going to marry them. And he proved true his word. He didn't relent until he married me. It's an interesting story, but it's true.
And you have been together all this while.
My husband and I have been married now. This year would be 37.
Wow. But nobody seems to see you in public together.
We're everywhere in public together. If you go to my social life, you find him.
Do they know who Mr. Abu is?
Mr. Abu is a very self-effacing person, as is all my family.
Now that I know you're from Kogi State, what are your feelings about, the situation in Kogi?
I'm not an active politician, so I keep my nose out of that business. But I am concerned about how Kogi State runs, because that's where I'm from. I'm interested in how we're presented to the world. And I've always believed in processes. So if anybody has any issues...
you don't feel like going into politics at any stage?
It hasn't called my name.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, not yet.
What haven't you seen in Kogi State?
Kogi is an agrarian society. We're mostly farmers. We're not like Lagos. And we're also very, as I say, modest people. We're not... people that are over the top in terms of modernity. We're very simple people, simple and agrarian. And in terms of that, I would like to see agriculture quadruple for us to be able to feed the nation and to make the effort to do that. I have spent time studying some of the things that are going on in the hinterlands. Unfortunately, not many people get to see those areas. We kind of concentrate on state capitals, unfortunately. But we've had a water situation, and in my local government, we didn't have a road that was worthy for a very long time, until very recently. I went home and I was quite surprised. Ankpa is my local government, and I found that the roads had been tarred. For how many years now, those roads have remained the same.
Hang on, they're talking about Kogi. Is it in terms of where your husband comes from, or where you come from?
My husband and I are 15 minutes away from each other.
Really?
But I'm talking about my own local government. I used to say to people, well, I'm married not far from my own place, and it wasn't something that I planned to do. I didn't even know he was from there when I met him. The only person that I felt at the time was good enough for me was anybody who was like my father. So I was looking for my father. And when I found my husband, he had a sense of humor. He was quite outspoken.
Of course, your father was a great influence to you.
My father was served his state as a permanent secretary. So we come from a civil service background. But I was looking for somebody who was very like my father. Most women do that. And when I met my husband, I was so sure that he wasn't from my state, because I thought the best person in the whole of Kogi State was my father. And then he surprised me after about 3 weeks by saying he was from Kogi. I said, well, banish the thought. I'm not marrying you. I'm going to go look for someone else. I don't want to marry a Kogi man, But I ended up marrying him. And he's very like my father in a lot of ways. He's a gentleman. He's a good father. is very patient and gives me wings to fly.
Wow.
True.
Okay, fly away. We'll be back after this time. Pick a question and answer the question.
Okay. Let's see what I get
I'm
out
sure
of this.
you don't have any problem with reading your question, so yeah.
What would you say your contribution to the development of the Nigerian project has been? I think my contribution to the Nigerian project is ongoing. My work with children is phenomenal. I think that I've done 500 children between the ages of 7 and 14 in the last 13 years. I'm sure there will be other people outside of me who would say my broadcast years have been a contribution. My ability to train now, I teach at Bingham University as a visiting consultant, and I train public speaking. And then I consult in the areas of democracy, peace building, and media across the West African sub-region. And the West African sub-region, Nigeria is a core. If Mali has an issue, it affects us. And so I was in Ghana, I was in Sierra Leone, I was in Liberia, and then we did the last Nigerian elections. I was involved in peace building measures, the way the media puts out content. I trained on how to manage the media. I also trained women in politics who do not know how to use the media.
Well, you seem to have overdone your contribution to the project.
No, I think we haven't done enough. I think there's so much more to do.
What do you think, is wrong with the country as it is?
At the moment, I think we as citizens should be honest about who we want to lead us. We're not. We tend to think that it's more about other things than about leadership. And so half the times we're looking at, is it my brother? I think our ethnic jingoism is also getting the better of us. If somebody is not from our own part of the world or part of the country, we tend to think
Are you looking at the way forward?
They are never qualified. The way forward is for each and everyone to be accountable, to hold themselves accountable for how we take this nation. We cannot, for example, be looking to hire, and I'm using that as a basic premise, and then we hire people who are not qualified just because they are our brother. I think it's a major place that Nigeria broke, and it didn't start today. Why would you not hire the person who is most qualified? Why are you hiring the person because he's your brother, and yet he doesn't know anything?
The one thing that most Nigerians are worried about is insecurity. Does that worry you?
It does worry me. It worries me in so as insecurity is everybody's business. And I think the media also has a great role to play, because as a media, we have a responsibility.
Do you think the media is doing enough?
I think the media is doing its best, but we need a lot of capacity building. I think we need to understand what security is and why security is important. We need to understand what ethnicity is. Ownership of media houses should also understand that their ownership is beyond them. It's a national call, and sometimes ownership can be meddlesome.
Did you at any time face politics in your workplace?
Politics can be defined in different ways, and sometimes when you're doing your work and just trying to be efficient, you make inefficient people feel uncomfortable. I try to do my work. I think it's the best revenge. Wherever you are, just do your work well. And no matter how hard people try to undo you, you'll find that no matter the politics they are playing, whether politics of ethnicity, whether politics of relationships, you find yourself standing head and shoulders above people when you're efficient at your job. And like I was trying to explain for people to benefit, that indeed if you know your work and you know your onions, those things don't hold too much water against you. NTA is a learning ground.
But they seem to. There are people who just get, stuck in a place for over, 20 years without promotion and the rest of it.
I suffered those things. I had times when I spent 9 to 10 years on the same grade level, and people who who had nothing on me got promoted for reasons that I cannot explain. But
how did that make you feel?
It made me feel
like
really bad.
Leaving or
at that time,
sticking?
I felt like leaving. But then I have a good family, and they explained to me that that's not the end of the world. And in my journey through NTA and learning that there were people who had worst case scenarios, I vouched that if I got to a place where I could make a difference, I'll do my best. And my staff would say that I did my best when I found myself in that position, to ensure that people who did their best got the opportunity to rise higher. Because, there are always those people who are not doing anything in the office. The ones who are loafers, who don't come on time, who are not efficient, who don't want to learn. Usually, in a lot of establishments, they are the ones who seem to be getting ahead. And that really irritated me. But again, I always say that everywhere is a learning curve. And for me, I learned quite a lot from all those experiences.
Well, let's talk about the place of women in society, gender, equality and all of that. What are your views?
I think gender stereotypes are very entrenched. And some of it is coming out of our culture, where women are to be seen and not heard. Women's voices are drowned. Women are not able to speak their minds. And from time to time, even in the workplace, women are treated a little less than men. But I've met those barriers. I've found that where I'm efficient at, sometimes a man, I'm passed over for a man. These things happen, and sometimes they are subtle. But then we are facing it now squarely by the way in which we bring up our boys. When you tell a boy that a girl is not important, then when there is a question of rape, he's not going to think it's important. And I think we should look at those things. Gender stereotypes have also prevented women from rising up in the political sphere. Women hold half of the sky. And if you run as a nation with only one leg and you leave your second leg, you're not going to do as well. Many nations, look at Rwanda and other nations who have put women out there. The countries that are the Netherlands and Scandinavian countries have done very well. Sweden and all of that visited. And their women are doing as well, are running along with the men. But here, in some cultures, they tell you, keep quiet, you're just a woman. Is it a woman talking to me? We need to work on those things.
Have you ever experienced that?
Not directly, but subtly. Simple things like a woman is looking for a job, somebody is expecting her to pay with her body. I take complete umbrage to that. And it happens in our society, yeah.
On this castaway trip, you'll be allowed 5 items to go with you, things that you need on a daily basis for the next 10 days, rather. So what will they be?
The Bible.
1.
Pictures of my family. Lots and lots of books. A4 paper lined. When I write, that's what I write on. As a writer, everybody has their choice. The fancy pens don't work for me when I write, because I write by hand before I type. A few times, now my columns, I can type directly into the computer. But my brain, like Ngugi wa Thiong'o will say, goes directly to the pen first. So I prefer A4 lined paper and Bic. That's the simple Bible for flow. All those fancy, named pens, fancy designer pens, they don't do the flow for me. So I will do the Bible, I'll do my children's picture, I will do lots and lots of books. I'm a reader. I will do A4 lined paper. Matches. Will that place be an island? There will be water already?
Yes, obviously.
There will be water already. So I will need blankets.
Okay.
Because I learned in camp that you need to keep warm and you need your matches.
What would you be reflecting on in those 10 days?
The beauty of my life, how God has been kind to me. That would be a major reflection.
How do you relax?
I love to read. I love to do nothing. I love to travel. I'm a great traveler. If there's a place to be discovered, I want to go. I've been to a lot of countries and my resume of travel is unbelievable. I've traveled quite a great deal. The only 2 continents I haven't been to, Latin America and Antarctica. And I'm looking forward to doing them before I turn 60.
Wow. To you personally, what would be the best birthday gift?
To be able to go to Tahiti.
Okay.
And spend my time on the island.
Good luck.
Yes, I look forward to it.
What are the words that will be written on your tombstone?
Eugenia Abu saw, she impacted, she learned, and she emptied herself by giving back. Done.
That's great.
Yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so very much.
I've enjoyed listening to you.
I've enjoyed having you invite me. It's such a pleasure.
It's been The Chat, and my guest has been Eugenia Abu. Thanks for watching the program. I am Manny. See you again. The Chat is produced by Channels Television. You can watch it again online. Just visit our social media platforms: Twitter, YouTube, Facebook.